Is Germany preparing for war with Russia? In the key NATO country, all signs on the ground point towards this. The government in Berlin, you see, is working hard, planning contingencies in case a war were to break out tomorrow. On Wednesday, the German defense minister said that Germany needs to strengthen its armed forces for operational readiness before the end of the decade. Pistorius reiterated that some form of military service would be necessary as Russia's war in Ukraine has raised concerns about the future security of Europe. On Wednesday, Germany's new defense framework was approved by the Chancellor's cabinet, replacing guidelines that dated back to 1989. Officials have released a 67-page document, one that outlines how the outbreak of the war will affect the civilian population. So what does the government really plan to do is the question. For starters, compulsory military service would be reinstated. Then manufacturers will be forced to produce only war goods. Parts of the country would be evacuated. Subway stations and underground parking lots would be turned into bomb shelters. Food would be rationed to allow for at least one hot meal per day. To maintain food security, the government would rely on secret grain stockpiles. On the defense front, Germany would order a large troop movement to the east. The troops would be tasked with defining NATO's eastern flank, seeing as NATO works in collective defense, which means an attack on one would mean an attack on all. Germany will also prepare to host and feed thousands of allied NATO soldiers as they transit towards the front line. According to the D-Day documents, tanks and other military vehicles would be given full priority on German roads and rail routes. Berlin would also have the powers to suspend air traffic. The 67-page document talks about every measure that would be taken in case a war breaks out. The German defense minister has vowed to turn Germany into a war-ready country. On Wednesday, in fact, Pistorius was quoted as saying in the German parliament, I'm quoting, "We must be ready for war by 2029. Since the war broke out in Ukraine, tensions between Moscow and the West have only increased. The German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has also recently ordered 20 Eurofighters and called on allies to increase cooperation on weapons production. And if that was not enough, the German Defense Ministry has also announced it would be buying 2 additional frigates on top of 4 already ordered. That's not even all. As part of its response to Russia's war in Ukraine, Germany is already stationing troops in Lithuania on the NATO's eastern flank until a permanent brigade is set up there in 2027. You see, since the Ukraine war started, NATO member states in Europe are fearful that Putin might extend Russian aggression beyond Ukraine, a suggestion that Moscow has repeatedly denied as nonsense. But you see, with the Russian president vehemently rejecting all suggestions that he will attack the NATO, the question is, does the NATO really believe that Putin might attack? Is it fear of Russia? Or are the bloc members acting out of paranoia? To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.